I gotta say, bro, after the last couple episodes, I was getting worried. But I really like.
Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Bloodstreams, the show where we dissect horror movies that you can stream right now. Now before we get into it, I want you to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification button, alright? Share this with all of your friends. Alright, so the way this works is on Mondays we do spoiler-free reviews, and then on Fridays we release an episode where we jump into the spoilery beans. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about the independent horror film Dry Blood, currently streaming on Amazon Prime. Let's check it out.
Hey, this is Brian. I'm gonna go up to the cabin, all right? And I was thinking maybe you'll join me. I just really need a friend right now, all right?
How long have you been using again?
In a rural mountain town, an unstable drug addict must unravel a surreal murder mystery as he's terrorized by malevolent ghosts, a deranged sheriff, and the frightening hallucinations from his withdrawal.
Hey, buddy. You having a bad day? Well, that was Dry Blood. Man, I gotta say, I really liked this one.
Yeah, warning for anyone who hasn't seen this movie yet, like, it is not for the faint of heart.
It was written and starred by... It's written by and starring Clint Carney, who also did the music. He's in a little-known band called System Sin.
System Sin, I hear they're pretty good.
They're pretty damn good. Some of you may have heard of them. If you haven't, check them out. You can find them anywhere. Let's see. And then directed by Kelton Jones. This was his directorial debut.
Yeah, his feature-length directorial. He's done short films and stuff before.
Yeah.
You should check those out, but holy crap.
Yeah, and he's an actor, too. In fact, he also plays a role in this movie. And
he's so good.
He's pretty damn funny in it, man.
Yeah,
he's really good. This movie is a seriously independent movie.
Yeah. I don't think you can get more independent than this movie.
You watch the opening credits, and it's literally written by, directed by, produced by, edited by.
It's all the same group
the
of
music's
people.
done by.
Yeah.
It's all basically done by like 2 or 3 people. And you can tell right off the bat that they had no money for this.
Yeah, it's a very little budget, but boy, what they did with no money is better than what most movies do with a lot of money.
It's a very simple concept. I'm not ruining anything or spoiling anything by saying the concept. It's basically about a junkie who's trying to get clean. He goes up to his cabin in the woods to get clean, and there is something foul at play, whether it be ghosts or maybe demons in his own mind. Now, this is a story that has essentially been done a billion times.
Yeah.
But the way it's executed is done really, really well. It just goes to show you, if you have a vision for something, and have a unique way of telling a story, you can do it.
I want to focus on Graham Sheldon, who was the cinematographer for this. Did a really good job. There's a couple times, especially in the first shot. The first shot of this movie is like this long one-take phone call thing.
There's a lot of really cool oneers that I noticed that are very unobtrusive. They're not like, ooh, we did this in one shot.
No, they did it really clever. But he does some things, and I don't know if this was Kelton and Clint Carney getting in on this, but there's something they do with the lens in the beginning that, like, because the character's kind of out of it, everything in the lens is kind of like shifting, and it's so strange how they did. I really want to know how they did that effect.
The camera work I thought was really kind of cool because it's very, very voyeuristic. You really kind of feel like as an audience member, you're like a presence.
Yeah, maybe you're one of the spirits in the house just watching the whole thing go down. It's really, really interesting.
It's very cool. And it reminds me a lot of kind of the 60s, 70s era horror. It's a slow burn.
Real
so
slow.
If you haven't seen this movie, just trust us. It takes its time, which I kind of like. It's refreshing in today's
I like
day
it.
and
Yeah,
age.
you start to get to know, like, because one of the first things the main character in this, I think his name's Brian.
Yeah.
One of the first things he says in the phone is, "I'm going up to the cabin to get clean again." And a lot of people immediately will judge the character for that sentence. And what I like is they do something like that in the beginning and then give you time to realize who this character is.
Yeah.
And get you to feel for the character, and then
do.
these like spooky things start trickling in. And there's a couple moments in this movie before it goes to 11,
right?
Where it like hits 11 for a second, then goes right back down.
And I gotta say, like, just chiming in on that, like when this movie hits 11, it hits 11, and it doesn't really go full tilt until the third act. I mean, not
like the last 10 minutes of the movie.
But you know, like I think if you're not prepared for that, you could be like going, "Oh, what am I watching?" You know, like if you're not into that slow burn type of horror, which I personally am. You know, it reminded me a lot of Polanski's Repulsion.
Yes, a lot like Repulsion.
Right? It's just got this, like, you know, very kind of interesting view of reality throughout the whole thing. And as we go further down the wormhole, it just gets more bizarre and more bizarre.
More bizarre.
And I just, you know, there are things that are wrong with the movie.
Of course,
it's not a perfect film, but I mean, man, like the last couple movies we watched, one had a serious budget, one probably not quite as serious, but they both had like a couple million to make their movies. This movie was probably shot. I want to say it's probably like literally $100,000, like a micro budget.
Yeah,
probably $100,000 to me. Like I would love to have. Like that sounds like a lot of money.
I would do with $100,000.
But you know, when making a movie, like that's nothing.
Yeah, that's craft service.
One of the downsides of the movie, you know,
my only real downside to this movie, actually, I know exactly what you're going to say.
Yeah. Okay. So, like, first of all, the cast on the whole is really damn good. Clint Carney.
Oh my god!
Not only did he write
talent.
This
also,
guy's a super talent.
If you look up Clint Carney, like, not only is he an actor, a writer, he's a director. He professionally makes props for some of the biggest movies in Hollywood.
He's an incredible
artist, incredible musician. Like, there's nothing that... I don't think he sleeps.
Yeah.
I think he's just creating constantly, and I'm really jealous.
He's also a very nice guy. But... just full disclaimer, and this has no bearing on our review.
No,
but we actually know the filmmakers in this that made this movie. But don't you worry, I will be scathing when I need to be. I will literally cut the throats of their.
You'll just saw into that throat.
I will just saw right into that throat of their creative little muse that keeps them alive. I'll do it.
Jamie Valentine.
She's kind of the weakest link in this movie.
She plays the ex-girlfriend who comes up to the cabin to help Clint's character get clean.
It's a real bummer because she's got a good look. I can see why they cast her, and I think if I remember correctly, they knew her, right? Yeah. She's not really an actress. She's more of
she's a musician and a singer.
Yeah, more of a musician and a singer. She's got a good look, but she just like there's some great scenes that are they're killed because so much relies on her performance. So much of this movie is at maximum, you know, two people in a room. I can't remember why. And I believe he explained it at one point, but she's got a wig on.
Yeah,
the entire time.
Not a great wig. And if that is her real hair, she's got to go to a different stylist. Because it looks like a wig.
Pretty sure it's definitely not her hair.
Also, it doesn't help because obviously they didn't mean to do this, but Clint's performance in this is so good. He's so realistic. And there's a lot of scenes, like we said, that are one takes, and I love the way that Kelton had the camera like go like this, and then just this.
Yeah, no cutting away.
Yeah. But the problem was Clint was so good that when you're doing these one take scenes and you're swinging back to an actor who isn't as good, it's that much more visible.
Yeah, absolutely.
What we haven't written down, there is an amazing cameo in this movie.
Yes, there is.
From Mr. Rob Galuzzo. If you know that name, well, if you're a horror fan, you know that name because he is one of the hosts of Shockwaves. He
pretty good podcast.
Yeah, he works at Fangoria now. Like, this guy is so in, and he's so good in this movie as the little like small town grocery store clerk, and he there's very little to do, but he's just really good.
Right. The first time I saw the movie, I didn't know Rob at all, and he's got a very good, interesting look to him,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, well, I see why they cast him. He's just got this really quirky performance, and I was like, I'll bet you anything that guy's not an actor. And they just found this guy, and that's just who he is. And then I ended up meeting him, and he's just like this really
He's nothing
sweet
like
guy.
that
He's
guy.
nothing. He like really made this like quirky character.
He's so believable.
Yeah,
And I love how this movie really starts playing with your head.
yeah.
As the movie goes on, you're like, wait, like even little things continuity wise, you're like, that wasn't there in the last scene, and they made a point to show you that it was in a different spot.
Right. And you're like, is that a blunder on the filmmaker's part?
Yeah, is that?
No.
And then by the time the end comes, all of the questions that you didn't even like realize were setups are answered perfectly.
Without spoiling anything, there are a couple of horror moments that if you're not paying attention, you're gonna miss.
Yeah,
and I love that.
Oh, I love it. There's really good like things that blend in with the background, and
it's really cool. I thought like so much of the horror aspects, and maybe this is because of the beauty of not having a budget. You really had to get creative, and man, these guys are creative. They were really able to like find the horror in the parts that they knew that they could make. And I thought it was really, really, really cool.
Can we talk for a second about the gore in this movie?
Yeah, it's gory AF.
Oh my god. There's a couple deaths in this movie where I was exactly like I am now.
Right, yeah. It's just I saw it with him. He was just like that. I do want to bring this up, and we'll talk more about it in the spoiler review. But
we're kind of being hypocrites in this one.
Yeah, no, because weirdly enough, there's at least two moments that are definitely CGI effects, but man, they
pull it off.
They pulled it off. Well, we know if you've seen the last two episodes, I'm not a big fan.
Neither one of us are big fans, but this one does it really well. They don't use too much, right? And then when they do use it, they don't focus on it for a long time,
right?
You know. There's one sequence in there where they really focus on it, but it is so disturbing and done so well.
I feel like had they gone through another pass in the editing, I feel like that. I know what scene you're talking about. Yeah. I think they could have done by cutting it just a little bit, because it does expose the CGI-ness of it. If it was just kind of done for a flash,
overall editing, which Clint Carney edited this movie. Honestly, I think it's really well done. There's a couple sequences though where 2 or 3 frames taken off the end of the shots would have helped it a lot.
It's a slow burn, so you're supposed to kind of just marinate in it. But I don't know. I'll have to watch it again.
Why don't you watch it and then come back on Friday and we can talk about what we all thought of it. Sam, what would you give this out of 10 stumps?
You know what? And this honestly, this has nothing to do with the fact that we know the guys that made this movie. I really did enjoy it, and it reminded me of horror from a long time ago,
from yesteryear.
Before horror movies that were before we were even born, and they're just not made like that anymore. And I really appreciate it. I'm gonna give it 8.5 bloody stumps, which I want to be. I still want to be critical, even though I love the people that made it personally, and respect them so much as artists. But there were just a couple of little things in there that I was just like, man, if you could have just perfected that a little bit.
I'm right on the same page with you. I was literally thinking about this while we were getting ready. It was like 8.5, definitely 8.5. I love this movie. I can't go perfect because nothing's ever perfect. There's always room for improvement. Nothing gets a 10 from me.
I don't know. There's one, and if we do a retro review on it, which I really like to do.
We'll get started on the retro reviews. Don't worry. 8.5. Tell us what you thought if you've seen it already. If you haven't, go onto Amazon Prime right now and watch this movie stew in its horror goodness. Because there's a good stew. Tasty, disgusting,
very thick,
really disturbing, thick
mindfuck of a stew.
Mindfuck. You will not be the same.
Check this movie out.
All right, I think that's good. Let's do this outro, huh?
Okay. I'm gonna try a cartwheel.
Sam. And we are currently looking for another host.
Well, that was it. That was our review for Dry Blood that can be seen on Amazon Prime right now. And you know what? This is why I love doing this show so much, is because this is a truly independent film, and I want the entire known world to see. Known world and beyond. Let's give it to the universe. It's out there. The aliens are picking up on all our vibes down here, and they're going to see it too. If you haven't seen it, please check it out and come back and see us on Friday when we will spoil the hell out of it. We'd like to start a conversation. Hit us up in the comments and let's talk about this movie. Don't forget to like, scare, subscribe, and murder that notification bell so that you know exactly when we're coming at you with our fine, glorious mess of a show. See you on Friday.